It's not often you talk about an Indy 500 winner having to be in the last chance qualifier. That's the case for Marcus Ericsson.
And with a team like Andretti Global. But like Townsend said, there's a reason why they're in this situation. And usually it's because something has gone wrong. And Marcus said, I have no one to blame but myself. This was on Thursday afternoon. Lost control and made contact 3 different times. Here's number 2, and then gets the separator, we call the attenuator, separating pit lane from the racetrack. So this is a new car that was used last year by Devlin DeFrancesco. They made major changes, even considering trying a different chassis this morning. Stayed with it, made a lot of changes in the practice, but Marcus said it's still not where we want to be. We're still fighting. It's something we can't find, but he told me just a few minutes ago, we're done chasing it. This is what we have, no more changes. We've got about 1.5 miles to spare in speed. Let's see what we get and just get it in the show.
Well, what does Marcus think about qualifying? He's conquered it. He's won the Borg Warner. What does he think about this passage of the month of May?
Always starting that last lap on a qualifying run is something special about it, because you know you're on the limit of the car, the tires are getting used at this point, and you just have to keep it flat for another lap. And that's a mental challenge. That's something else for sure.
That's such an important component to it that Marcus articulated there, the mental component of it. Having that mental strength to go on and on and on when you have been asked, Hinch, to do multiple 4-lap runs and to continue to say, can you find another mile an hour, another 0.5 mile an hour? It's excruciating at times.
It is. Like you say, mentally it's such a challenge as well, because you hear about drivers and how mentally challenging qualifying is at Indy on a good day, as Ericsson clocks a fairly quick warm-up lap. But to then have to do it again and again while just fighting to be in the show, it's emotionally exhausting, mentally draining. It's a psychological challenge for all these drivers.
He pulls 5th gear on the back straightaway, rounds turn 3, back down to 4th it shows on the telemetry, James. That's a bit of a surprise to start his lap.
That top speed did not look very strong at all. This is his first lap. Let's see what the pace is. It's a 2:30.5 for Marcus Ericsson on lap 1.
That's better than Nolan Seigel, but probably not as good as they would have expected.
It's crazy to think you're sitting in that race car, the number 230.5 miles an hour pops up on your dash, and you're crushed. You're disappointed with how quote-unquote slow that is.
If you needed any additional evidence on how mental this game is, I know exactly what you're thinking and saying, James, because I've been in this situation. You come on the radio and said, it feels dog slow. How quickly you develop a tolerance to the speed, James, as lap 3 is complete.
So 230.5.
Wait, he just backed out.
Oh,
he just had an issue.
Oh, no.
An overboost or a plenum fire, or maybe he thought it was the checker.
Urgency on the radio. Keep going, keep going.
Oh,
Need a lap time here. Keep going.
That's Eric Bretzman, strategist, who's putting his visor up. He knows it's irrelevant how fast he goes back to the line. He just has to get back to the line to technically finish the run. It's going to be...
Keep coming, bring it to us. It's checkered still. Keep coming, keep coming.
What happened?
Sounds like something's off.
I don't think so. It sounded like he was at partial throttle on the back straightaway, and then he started to accelerate.
Checkered flag, pink 1, cool down. We need a cool down here. We're going to have to go again.
And that's the problem, is now the engine's hot. There's been a serious issue, either in miscalculating where he was in the run as a driver or something mechanical, and now he's going to have a hot engine. Then they will not be able to get it cool, as Olivier Boisson, the race engineer...
Well, he looks exasperated. He's like, come on.
I think Ericsson thought the checker was out.
I think he did too. That was the urgency. Keep going, keep going. Have a listen to this radio.
White flag, white.
White flag, white, which means 1 to go, and he gets out of the throttle.
Keep going, keep going.
James, I believe We just saw Marcus Ericsson lift a lap before he was supposed to.
We just talked about the mental strain of going through this process, being part of bump day, being part of the last row shootout just to make the race. This is a driver who last year finished second, who 2 years ago won the Indy 500, has never been in this position before. It's been stressful since that Thursday crash. Fast Friday was not good. Saturday was not good. Sunday shaping up so far even worse. This team still has a chance to rebound, but guys, for a driver that's done it this much, to make that sort of mistake just highlights the stress level right now.
And Diff, the stress has been high. It's about to go through the roof over the next 45 minutes for Marcus Ericsson.
This is just highly uncharacteristic of the 33-year-old Swedish driver. He is a race winner in the IndyCar Series of the highest order. He is an Indy 500 winner. Kevin Lee, what is happening? It's unraveling.
So just kind of checking with the team. To one team member, I said no mechanical and shook their head as in no. Another said we're still checking. Marcus has said nothing other when they said where to pit off of. He said copy. Copy is the only word I've heard him say since we heard that white flag, and then he apparently lifted.
But we need to show you something that occurred yesterday as Catherine has a big wiggle. Watch the big box. This is what happened on her fourth lap. She's coming to the checkered flag, hit the wall, ricocheted off, kept her foot in the throttle, and completed the fourth lap.
James, when Nolan Seigel just finished his run, we said anything could happen. It's not over yet, and the next two cars have already had huge drama.
Right,
Catherine
Legge
Legge just got all kinds of sideways on the warm-up lap.
Lap 1 in the books.
This is the start of lap 1. Or is that, oh, sorry, 2:30.8.
Good speed considering the bobble that she had.
The Elf Honda for Dale Coyne Racing. It's her and her teenage teammate, Nolan Seigel, that have Dale Coyne Racing biting their fingernails.
Oh boy, the back of the race car looks nervous, and James, the track temp now at 127. It's almost 130 degrees right here in turn 1. See that thing steering at the back, Diff? It's kind of wandering a bit, so she'll be chasing the car with her controls in the cockpit.
2:30.6. So it's still tracking well above the lap time for Nolan Seigel. She's got some buffer certainly, but you hear the call over the radio. Try to stay ahead of the balance. Work your tools. Gets through turn 4. She'll have one lap, 4 corners to go. Lots of margin on the exit of 4.
Yeah, it looks like things have started to settle down at the back of the car.
White flag, one more.
This time a year ago, Catherine raced her way into the Indy 500 field, and she goes high.
Whoa, and a big lift in turn 2.
She kept her foot in it and won.
But she had to pedal it. She had to pedal it. This will bring the average way down. Almost wrecked in 1. Had to use some discretion in 2. She stays flat in 3. And you're starting to see just how hard it is to just make the show here at Indy.
Yesterday, she described it as terrifying, but I'm still going to do it.
All right, check a flag. Good job out there, nice job.
Catherine Legge to the line to complete her 4 laps, but that 4th and final lap was a 228.8 mile an hour lap, which brought her average down, but still enough to leapfrog Nolan Seigel.
What a weekend it's been. This was the early wiggle on the first lap. That almost got away from her.
So you have a nervous moment early, then you have a massive understeer late. A little bit of everything balance-wise for Catherine Legge. Look, and she didn't lift there, but she decided to pedal it through turn 2, just up in the gray. That is a heart in the throat moment for sure.
And she possesses that very important gene, which is disconnecting your mind from your right foot when your mind is telling you this is a bad idea. She kept her foot down and her head about her in really, really stressful times. So a long time until she's locked in, but job one on the list in terms of the process already complete there.
But in the last run of practice this morning, they found at least a direction that they think will result in more speed in this 15 car. And also here on the timing stand, his teammate Takuma Sato, who just ran in the Fast 12, had a long conversation with Graham about how his car handled when he was out there a moment ago, and also his teammate Christian Lundgaard. They're all here supporting Graham, hoping that he doesn't have to go through this year what he went through last year.
The United Rentals Honda, excuse me, is up to speed. Dad Bobby, his famous father, is on pit road looking on with much interest. Here is the green flag for Graham Rahal.
I think that setup direction they found on the last run was to make sure all four wheels were tight. Scary moment for the final run of the 15. The right rear wheel came loose during the run. Luckily, Graham felt it before it became an issue, brought the car home.
Lap 1, turns 1 and 2, Graham Rahal looked like he was struggling to get the car to finish the corner.
If you're just turning on, this is the 1 hour last chance qualifying period for the final 3 positions for the 108th running of the Indy 500 next Sunday, Memorial Day weekend. And Rahal flashes across the line, 230.3. There's Bobby, there's Dad Bobby, watching on.
Oh boy, that turn 1 high exit puts Graham's right front right up into that light gray where there's not a lot of grip. He's working the steering wheel hard, working the weight jacker, hoping to find the balance. But when you fall behind the front tire, it's hard to get it back.
If he has bad degradation, he could find himself flirting with where Nolan Siegel's time currently is. A 230.0 average is Catherine Legge. That first lap of a 230.3. He's going to need killer consistency to stay up in front of Catherine.
229.998. This is not trending well for Graham Rahal. This is not fun.
Ericsson knows he has to run again. Seigel is definitely fueling up and suiting up to run again. Almost regardless of where this ends up, you're going to think that Graham Rahal will try at least one more time.
You're going to think so, and it might not be as good because of the heat soak in the car.
Heat soak of the car and the temperature of the racetrack, 127 degrees. Townsend, that's the hottest we've seen all month.
Yeah, it's 132 degrees in turn 3. What does turn 1 look like for Graham?
229.8 that last lap.
It's starting to stabilize. That's a good sign that the degradation, the bleed, oh boy, almost into the wall outside of turn 2 as Ricardo Nault, the team manager, looks on.
That's just using every inch of the racetrack. This is Graham digging deep, trying to open his hands up on the exit, let that car accelerate off the corners, try to get as much momentum going down these 5/8 of a mile straightaways. Here he comes to the flag.
It should put him in second, which would be 32nd. Graham Rahal to the line and does just that with a 4-lap average of 229.974. Sliding a ton, he says. So Catherine Legge in 30th, Rahal in 32nd, Seigel in 33rd, and the 2022 Indy 500 champ is outside looking in. And with more on that, here's Kevin Lee. Kev?
And to add to the misery of the last couple of days, Marcus Ericsson thought the run was over. He was off by a lap. There is no mechanical issue. He lifted. So what they've been trying to do is cool the car. You've seen the starter in the back. It almost looked like they couldn't get the car fired, but that's just part of the cooling process to expedite that. So do they go immediately, or do they wait and go one more run right at the end where no one can defend?
But right here, right now, is Andretti Global's Indy 500 winner, Marcus Ericsson, and he is trying to get his way into the field. It is almost unbelievable that a guy of this caliber and a team of this caliber is currently on the outside looking in. It's now or never for Ericsson. He's got one last shot at it.
Goes through the warm-up procedure one last time. Has to switch the car into the right engine map at just the right moment. Hit your shift points at just the right moment. Set your tools exactly where you need them for the warm-up lap.
Green, green.
I don't like that he only saw 226 minimum speed in turn 4.
He has to come up with a 4-lap average better than 229.5 miles an hour. Otherwise, Marcus Ericsson will not race next weekend. It's as simple as that.
There will be enough time left for Nolan Seigel to respond should Marcus Ericsson set a time fast enough to get into the field and bump the teenager out. He's in the car, prepped and ready to go, just watching anxiously to see what Marcus can do on this run.
Lap 1, it's going to tell us in a really important part of the story. 230.67 miles an hour. It's good, but it's not great.
And he gets high. He gets high at the exit of turn 1. And like I said just before the break, the track temperature at 130-degree average is well above what anybody has tested, practiced, or qualified with so far in the entire field. So we're in an area with these tires, that they just have not tried this yet. This new Firestone tire for this year has not seen anything like 130 track temp.
And basically what you're watching is right here. You want to make sure that that green bar stays full.
He is dancing a really delicate line here, Hinch. Ericsson, there are no guarantees just because he's an Indy 500 winner that he's going to make the field.
The stress isn't just on the team and the drivers. Marcus's wife, Iris, watching. You can see the angst in the body language. This race means so much to these drivers, so much to these families. You sacrifice everything for success at the Speedway.
And on his previous run, it was right here at the completion of lap 3 where Marcus Ericsson made a huge error. He thought he was done and he lifted.
One more lap.
And there they remind him, 1-4 lap and dip. It is falling.
No.
It is falling. 229.7.
He has to be better than 229.5 over the 4 laps, otherwise he's out. 2 drivers who had 2 massive crashes this week are fighting over the 33rd and final position. Marcus Ericsson has 2 turns to go. Is he in or is he out? This is going to be devastating for one of the 2 drivers. Marcus Ericsson to the yard of bricks. Is he in this year's 500 or is he out? Ericsson, he's done enough. He jumps his way into the field.
Waiting. Yeah, good job holding it together. 230.027.
My goodness. And now the pressure turns to a 19-year-old rookie from Dale Coyne Racing by the name of Nolan Seigel.
But crucially, this guarantees Marcus's entry into the race because he jumped ahead of Graham Rahal. He's sitting 32nd provisionally. So if Seigel improves on a 229.974, it will be Graham Rahal for the 2nd consecutive year on the outside looking in at the end of bump day.
So cruel for Graham Rahal to go through this 2 years in a row.
The Dale Coyne crew are going to fire up this Honda and send this teenager on the wildest ride of his young life.
All right, buddy. Let's do this. Send him, Renata. Let's go, baby.
Want to know what pressure looks like? This is it. And Graham Rahal, Marty, for the 2nd year in succession, has to have the worst weight of his racing life.
It is gut-wrenching here in the 15 camp. Graham just climbing out. The team was trying to get ready to be able to go out, but with just 2 minutes to go, Townsend was at enough time for the 15 to maybe make a run as they sit helplessly and watch. Can the 19-year-old from California knock out one of the big names for the 2nd straight year?
We're about to find out, Marty. And it'll be the most difficult 4-lap run yet for Nolan Seigel because of that track condition. One thing's for sure, James, it's not going to happen if he lifts off the throttle in any meaningful way. He has to pin it and hang on. If it's uncomfortable, keep it flat. If you're scared, keep it flat. If you're not sure, keep it flat.
He's out. He's out at the moment. So
That's right.
If he has an incident, I hate to say it, but if he does end up finding, spinning or finding the wall again, he's no worse off, essentially. So this is big commitment time for Nolan Seigel. It has been such a tough 48 hours, but you have to give him so much credit for how he's handled it. Mature beyond his years, as you see the hugs from the 28 team on the right-hand side of your screen. It's not real happiness, guys. No, it's relief.
Marcus can't believe it. Look at him. Look at him. All right, get ready to go. 4 laps for the 19-year-old. Here goes Nolan Seigel to try and race his way into the Indianapolis 500.
We talk about how terrifying it is to do these runs. No one's had to do more than Nolan Seigel over the last few days. Graham Rahal just agonizingly waiting to see what kind of pace the number 18 has.
Doesn't look much better on back straightaway. Terminal velocity at 234 for Seigel. This will tell us a lot.
Sure will. It's got to be. At least 230 miles an hour, and it's not. It's 229.288. That is not enough. Oh! Nolan Seigel, and he hits the wall.
Oh, this is going to be a big one.
It's over for Nolan Seigel. He tried, but it has ended in a very abrupt way. Nolan Seigel is out.
Fine. It was loosish.
And will not race the Indy 500.
Sorry, we tried.
He did what he had to do. We were just talking about it, Townsend.
On the racetrack, buddy. We are really proud of you. These guys worked their tails off. You did everything you could. Sorry we didn't have the speed for you.
And Mum and Dad have to see the toughest moment of their young son's racing career. He's a terrific young driver. He's a race winner in Indy next and sports cars. This was a very tough task and a hard ask.
It's so good to see him climbing out of his car under his own power. Second crash in 3 days in very much the same part of the racetrack. This was turn 1. Just like Friday, it gets loose in the middle. And then he walks it up the track, clips the wall, breaks the right rear toe link, and at that point, James, there's no way to control the race car. Yeah, it's steering itself.
He's just opening his hands to try to stop it from spinning all the way around. Does a good job to keep it straight, try to bleed off some of the speed. But he did what he had to do. He kept his foot in it. He committed to it.
That's Courtney. That's Graham Rahal's wife. And nobody likes to see that happen to anybody at the Speedway. But what it did do was confirm Graham Rahal in the 108th Indianapolis 500.
Graham, what were the last 30 minutes like for you as you sat helpless in your car?
I mean, similar to last year, in the sense that, like, we knew we can't really run. We were waiting on Marcus to go. We knew he had the speed to get in. And look how close it is, right? Cat, Marcus, me, the same time in essence. So it's a game of thousands around here. If I can say anything, just great job to Dale Coyne Racing, because honestly, they were able to successfully find a lot of speed. If you looked at where Nolan was on Friday and you looked even yesterday, they closed the gap to us considerably. We kept losing pace. We were hanging on by a thread. We've been talking about that plenty. But Cat did a wonderful job finding a couple of miles an hour. It's something we have not been able to do, frankly. So, those guys put up a valiant effort. Nolan, most of you guys don't know his name, but you will. He's won in every class and category he's been in. I've watched him. I've known the kid since, 10 years. He was a little guy then, but you're going to know his name in the future. He's a winner, and he'll be winning at this level sometime soon. So, for United Rentals, for Honda, for the 15 car, I'm just happy we're in. But, kind of last year I saw everybody celebrating, and it just rubbed salt in the wound. So I'm not going to be that guy. We're just going to turn the page to tomorrow, try to get a good race car, which I think we've had. And we'll be in the show next week.
You just touched on it, but I found it very compelling that you wanted to congratulate or shake the hand of every competitor who was in that last chance qualifying effort. Why was that important to you?
Well, I know it sucks. I know that feeling. I know the hopeless feeling. Obviously for Coyne too, they just lost their second car of the week, and for them that's a massive deal. But I respect Dale Dale's been able to put up an incredible effort on a shoestring budget for 35 years in this sport or longer. And you've got to respect people like that for their effort, the heart that they have to come out here and compete with Penske, who probably has literally probably 8x of the budget of they do per car. And yet they come out and they put up good fights. And I just want to make sure that they knew that I appreciate that. And I know how hard this is, and I know how hard it is to miss, right? And so I respect the hell out of those people, you know, and we, as I said, there's no reason to celebrate. We're 33rd. That's not where we should be. That's not where we want to be. But we're in the show. United Rentals, these guys have stuck with us. All of our partners across the board, Fifth Third Bank, Hendrickson, everybody. And I just want to make sure that we reward them, you know, next Sunday. So we're in. I mean, that's all I can say.
Terrific sportsmanship from Graham Rahal, who is in, Kevin, the 108th running of the Indianapolis 500.
Marty, so is Marcus Ericsson, who has experienced the highest of highs and just avoided the lowest of lows. What have your emotions been like over the last 45 minutes?
It's been tough for sure. I think this place, last 3 years, it's been sitting in pit lane here waiting for, like, it's been, you know, always for the win the last 2 years, but this was probably, yeah, at least that's harder, even harder, especially after my mistake there in my first run where we were safely in. I can't believe I did that, but then yeah, to sit here and wait and think about that I have one shot to make the race and I have to hit that run because I know that the car was hot. It was not ideal after the first run. We had to trim out, and the car's been really hard for me to drive all since my crash, you know, so it was a very, very tough mental challenge for sure.
I noticed the team does not count down your laps until the white flag. Is that what you prefer? And then what happened on the first attempt?
You live and learn, right? No, that was all on me. We've done the same all week. We've been doing, I don't know, 58 qualifying runs this week, and it feels like it's always been the same countdown. So it's just all on me. I messed that up, and I shouldn't be doing that with my experience. So, but yeah, we're going to change the procedure going forward for sure.
Survive and advance. Marcus Ericsson is in. Dave.
Catherine Legge is as well. She will start her 4th Indianapolis 500 next Sunday. What are the emotions right now?
I honestly don't know how to describe them because I've just had every single emotion going. Obviously, I'm relieved. I'm happy for the guys. I'm happy for the crew. I'm feeling for Nolan. Obviously, that was less than ideal, but you know what? You've got to give him kudos. Like, he putting it in the show or putting it in the wall. Like, there is no other option at Indy 500, right? So he's going to go far, and he's going to do many more Indy 500s, so good for him. But for us, really happy for the guys. I know that they will, over the next few days, Monday and Friday, come with a good race car. You know, we've got some work to do, but I think we can do that in the time allotted, as long as it doesn't rain, please. And, yeah, just relieved and ready to get after it, but it's just so emotional. Like, the amount of pressure and stress and everything else on, like, I don't know, an hour of your life is ridiculous. I really wish I'd gone to college and got a proper job.
This one's a whole lot more fun, Lee, wouldn't you say?